welcome all to the official launch of the National Arts Festival. Thank you all for being here with us today. This year has been nothing short of unprecedented, and so we thank you tremendously for sitting here. If everyone would just direct their attention to the screen, CDF would now like to portray what it is they have been working on for the past 2 years.
One may wonder why the CDF does these events. It's because they form part of the livelihood of artists who live and work in Saint Lucia. And our mandate is training, but it is also to put on these events of a high quality and a high standard that showcases Saint Lucian talent and really try to place it on a regional and international stage. And for this year, 2021, we have great achievements. The impact of December festivals in terms of the audience turnout, 40% in 2017 to an increase of 20% in 2018 for both carols and Festival of Light. An increase in the very livelihoods in communities with respect to the sale of craft products during the National Arts Festival. A combined build-up of audience attendance over a period of 3 years, from 200 patrons to 1,000 for the performing arts showcases of Theatre Night and Poetry Night Live. A steady increase of patrons at exhibitions for emancipation at commercial centers. This year, the records an increase in visitor attendance from Martinique and surrounding hotels, 300 patrons over a period of 2 weeks. It's inevitable that we are achieving great strides. The job creation for young persons in terms of the cast from Carifesta. They have also performed for entertainment for the President of Taiwan's visit at Sandals Grand, doing voiceovers and PSAs at radio stations and media houses. Performance for Creole Heritage Month, the CDF has gotten a cadre of 16 young persons to perform as part of what we call an edutainment for the Icon series, where we sustain those young persons who are unemployed and they could see a future in the arts and see how the arts can develop into an industry. And this is what we have achieved between 2018 and 2020. We have that constant steady growth with the Icon series. It has become popular, and we have sought to educate the public about those persons who have contributed to culture and arts in Saint Lucia. And we record, it's at an all-time high that we had 7,000 persons in Bellevue celebrating the Icon in 2018 Ramopolio. The branding of Saint Lucia at Carifesta, all of Saint Lucia's performances, we had a total of over 2 million persons view our performances. For the first time, people were asking in terms of how can I come and spend a holiday in Saint Lucia? They think Saint Lucia is one of the destinations that one should visit. Sold out audiences performing theatrical performances in Trinidad at Queen's Hall. Queen's Hall holds a maximum of 800 persons. To date, we have had a sold out audience, and we have had sold out audiences with the theatrical work of 1,600 patrons coming to the Culture Center over a period of 2 days. There is a future in the arts, and CDF is building that.
It has indeed been a journey of hard work. Getting to this point today has not been the easiest. It came about when the COVID-19 pandemic hit St. Lucia, or hit the world. We had already planned to deliver the National Arts Festival in its, what we would say, normal form, where we go into the community. We have the theater nights, we have the poetry live, we have the dance component. We were all ready to roll with that. And it so happened that the good Lord told us, you are not in control. So we had to now, as a CDF, spring into action. We could not have come across as okay, what's going to happen next? We're dead, we're going to die. No. We had to spring to our feet and determine that as a CDF, we had to lead the charge. And we had that responsibility, and we owed that to the artist community, that we had to do something and do it quick. So we called our management team together. We had quite a few discussions, and we sent them to the different, teams and have them think about what it is that we're going to do. We knew what we wanted to do, but it's to fine-tune what we were going to do to make it acceptable, to make it palatable to Saint Lucia and the diaspora. And we thought, well, for me, people say COVID-19 is a crisis, but I would like to see it as an exciting opportunity for us as a CDF, because we had to spring into action. We know that the world was going digital. A lot of the artists were going digital. So the CDF was forced to go in that direction to ensure that we delivered across the borders, bridging that divide. A lot of young persons, when they hear the word culture, it seems like something that they cannot identify with. And we thought this was the opportunity to put it out there digitally in a world that the younger persons can identify with, in a way that they can understand and appreciate the work that CDF was doing. And we thought, what a wonderful opportunity and time to do this. So it has been a lot of, getting hot, getting heated, because everybody wants their thoughts to be heard, and everybody wants to ensure that when we deliver the product, is a product that we can be proud of, Saint Lucia can be proud of, the artistic community can be proud of. And it has undergone several changes. And today, we have gotten to this juncture. And I must say, if I did not say that today, my team, I appreciate the work that they do. I think they deserve a hearty round of applause. Because after the management team met to put things together, we decided, you know what? Let us not do things in the usual way. Let us get everybody involved, from the head right down to the cleaner in the organization. We brought it to them. They shared ideas. They had input into whatever we did, because we wanted everybody to buy into that product. Because we felt that if we bought into it internally, then the rest of the world, it was easy to sell it to them. So we got everybody involved. We formed teams amongst ourselves. We had, I know some people will knock me out after today, but I want my team to take a bow. We have the admin team headed by Mrs. Felicia Anthony Suraj. Fantastic job from that team, accompanied by Ria Modest, by Cindy Philogen. And what we did, persons joined teams, but they also had a second team that they could have assisted. We have the creative teams headed by our over-enthusiastic Junior Frederick. We have our logistic team ensuring that everything was going right, that all the needs were met when they were filming, when they were putting things together, ensuring that they paved the way so that whenever the teams got in there, that everything was in order. And that logistics team is headed by Tyrone Harris, and you have persons like Flaviano Serrier, Jana, Augustine, we have Claudia Damas, who's our office caretaker, and we have the control teams, the teams that says, no, stop. You've ended that $5, you've used up that $5, you cannot go anymore. Find a creative way of doing things. We have that team headed by Mrs. Henry, who's our senior account officer, and I, of course, provide assistance to that. So we do controls, we do budgeting and sponsorship, we're responsible for that. And you have the PR and marketing team that headed by Jimmy Clavier, and on that team you have Temba Cadet and you have Jean-Claude Lagon. And the teams, they have worked. They have put in, they have spared no efforts. Imagine a team being called out at 4 in the morning to go recording. They have to leave their beds, they have to leave their families and make the sacrifice. And to Team CDF, I say, you deserve the kudos today. Thank you for your efforts. Without you, today would not have been possible. Let me go into our sponsors, the persons who help us make it happen. And today I want to pay homage to Lucian. Lucian has been supportive of the CDF over the years, and they have never backed up. They have never turned away from us. They have been there every step of the way. No matter how many times we go to them, Lucian has always supported us. And for this, we want to say a heartfelt thank you to Lucian. We do appreciate you, Lucian. We have other sponsors like ECHO that has been there with us over the years, assisting us by waiving some of the licenses and, being very good to us. And today, represented by Davis Joseph, the CEO. We want to say thank you to you, ECHO, through you, Mr. Joseph. We have our artist community that has been there with us, even when the whole approach to doing this National Arts Festival changed. You never said, okay, I don't want to do this again. You were there every step of the way. We came back to you in another form. It was going to be hard work, and you acceded to our request, and we want to say thank you to you. This year we have tried a new approach by using the social influencers. And by this we mean the persons out there who can reach the non-traditional market that we're trying to reach. The younger persons who do not see the value in our culture, that do not see the value in what we do, because for them, they think of more of the modern type things and the things that are happening on the international scene. And for us is to get them as Saint Lucians to appreciate what is authentic to us, what is ours, what makes us unique as a people. And we decided this year we were going to use those persons, especially most of them being artists, who had that reach out there. Some of them have 4K views. Some of them have a reach on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook. They had that kind of reach. So we decided this year, let us use let us use this as one of the means of reaching the masses locally, regionally, and internationally. And thus far, I think it has been working. We have been able to reach persons that we were not reaching. And we want to ensure that we reach as many people as we can, because our aim for this project is to get 10,000 hits. That is our aim. And we think with the social influencers, and of course with your help and our agency's help, we're hoping that we can surpass that 10,000 views. To the persons who support us, the media, whenever we call on the media, they are always there with us. And we want to say to the media, we thank you for your efforts. We thank you for always being here with us. Because without you, we could not put that message out there. And the message going out there to us is very important, because we know that way we are also reaching persons. We have a lot of collaborators that have worked with us, and we want to say thank you. And I won't call them by names for fear that I miss out anybody. But we want to say, yourselves, the persons who have worked with us behind the scenes, we want to thank you. And one of the things that this project coming out of COVID-19, one of the things that this project has taught the CDF is that we know that we have talent out there, but there are certain key components that we were looking for in order to make, especially this project, happen, because the basis of this project is film ultimately. And we recognize that persons have been doing music videos and videos here and there, but what is really lacking is the trained personnel to make these things happen beautifully for Saint Lucia, so that when Saint Lucia puts out a product, it speaks to our two pitons and it speaks to our beautiful flag. It's perfect. And for us, we've recognized along that journey that there is a need to train our persons in key areas. And as a CDF, we will make recommendations to our ministry for some of these areas to be placed on the priority list of government training. Because we recognize that in a lot of cases, the arts does not take center stage. And we need that to begin to happen in a big way for our artists. Because they have the raw talent, but we want them to get trained so that when the call comes, not locally but internationally, that they can heed to that call. I think I've said a lot as I've been given strict instructions by my team that today is not talking day, today is digital day. So I will end here because for us it's about ensuring that CDF is in that digital space because our artists have gone there already. They are ready. You could see it all over the media that the artists are doing their thing. And it's for agencies like ourselves, FRC, ECSL, and the likes to jump on that digital bandwagon to ensure that we are doing our artists some justice. Because the world is moving in that direction and we do not want our artists to be left behind.
Sean, delivering this speech on behalf of the Saint Lucia Electricity Services. Good day, everyone. Sadly, we are unable to be physically present with you for the official launch of the National Arts Festival Artreach Virtual due to a prior engagement. Nonetheless, we wanted to express our continuing support for the efforts of the Cultural Development Foundation in educating, stimulating, and engaging the general public in the creative arts. Very importantly also, in training and exciting our young and budding artists in and about the creative arts. That is critical for continuity. We applaud the CDF for its own creativity in finding ways to continue its annual outreach despite the challenges that the COVID-19 has brought upon all of us. This is a tangible demonstration of the resilience of the creative arts and industries that has been as much a hallmark of their existence as the respective art forms themselves. In many ways, this commitment to deliver on your mandate against all odds reflects how we feel about what we do to be the energy that powers our nation's success day in, day out, 24/7, 365 or 366. So we're happy to be able to power Outreach 2020. We take the opportunity to wish the CDF and all those who come together to make this happen all the best. Thank you.
It's our time. It's our time. It's our time. Our future starts right now.
Our nation was molded on these three pillars. The novel coronavirus discriminates against no ethnicity, sex, race, or age. As we all face this uncharted path together, we remain optimistic and positive. COVID-19 has inspired greater focus and stirred up creation, consumption, and the proliferation of artistic and creative content via popular streaming and social media platforms. The Cultural Development Foundation presents the National Arts Festival Outreach, a series of virtual productions intended to highlight genres of performing arts, poetry, spoken word, music, and the visual arts through reality-styled programs that marry elements of education, advocacy, training, and entertainment.
Get up, let's go. Carry on. It's time to carry on.
One may wonder why the CDF is taking its festivals and transforming them into live virtual productions. It is because it forms part of a new economic, social, and creative livelihood of aspiring and recognizing Saint Lucian artists. The Foundation's primary mandate is training, but our rigorous and qualitative training programs can only be measured through grand initiatives such as Outreach, taking to the global stage the eclectic, proud and profound talents of Saint Lucians. The Cultural Development Foundation endeavors to promote and advance this heightened creativity both by artists and maximize on the opportunities presented herein, creating avenues to engage artists in Saint Lucia and the wider diaspora. Undeniably, the CDF recognizes the challenges posed to artists and the wider public by COVID-19 pandemic. The CDF's hope is to satisfy the yearning for an increased consumption of artistic products by bridging the physical divide through our unique virtual platform, whilst also working to achieve the objectives of the Foundation's immediate and short-term goals. Next generation. Project Goal: to enlighten, engage, and entertain the St. Lucian public and international audiences at this socially challenging time through arts and culture. Strategic project objectives. The Virtual Arts Festival seeks to educate, stimulate, and engage the public in the creative arts and performing arts, to educate on the relevance of skill training and self-development for all artists in the context of the creative industries and other employment sectors, to create an atmosphere for the advancement of film production and artistic expression through virtual media, to highlight the work of St. Lucian performers and provide employment opportunities during this period.
Everybody show me 2 hands in the
In an effort to innovate and remain relevant, the National Arts Festival will be implemented virtually. Ongoing planned programs of CDF that marries elements of festivals, education, advocacy, training, and entertainment into 3 unique projects using retellable media to promote St. Lucian culture and the arts in the context of this new digital era. Project structure: 3 productions, a CDF feature, virtual performance poetry series, virtual theatre arts reality series. CDF feature, a documentary, a 4-episode story focused on CDF's training and development programs, linking training to employment, performances, and the creative sector. Episode 1, Introduction and Setting. Episode 2, Modern and Contemporary Dance. Episode 3, Community Steel Pan Training. Episode 4, Theatre Arts Training and Development. Virtual Poetry Series, 6 inspiring, emotional, educational, and entertaining episodes featuring 6 St. Lucian female poets spanning 3 decades. Hosted by the next generation of artists. The poetry series will include taped performances, vlogs, interviews, and footage of real-life experiences, highlighting aspects of the poets' lives as working women, mothers, wives, and sisters. Virtual Theatre Art Series, 10 episodes, covered over 2 seasons, reality TV intended to highlight, through the vantage point of the director and the performer, the mental, physical, and emotional hurdles and processes faced in order to prepare for theatrical production. Give Me a Second Chance by Gemstones Theatre Productions and Hopewell Rehabilitation Center by Dramacan Theatre Productions. Woven into interviews with performers, directors, and other relevant stakeholders will expose audiences to a dimension of St. Lucia's eclectic theatre industry never seen before. The Cultural Development Foundation, building culture, community, creativity, innovation, leading the way of the future.
Our future starts right now.
It's great to be here today. So the poem I'm going to do is called Masterpiece. Have you ever had the feeling like you were meant to be extraordinary? Like you were destined for greatness to rise, but then off balance it got scary because you looked down and then you fell. And that's when everything went so slowly, because I mean seriously, have you ever sat there with your conscience or leaned back to explore your innocence, to examine yourself? Because here I am asking myself, what am I? Or why am I here? Is there something I should believe in? And if not, then tell me, why do I have this fear? This fear like there's something that I need to hold on to. Something I can hold on to that wouldn't make me feel so ostracized, because every other thing that I grasp, it only cuts me down to size. But then I look at your eyes, your voice, your smiles, so many faces and emotions and talents down to all races. So tell me, what is your identity? How can you be so unique but yet have no image? What is your story? That behind every fingerprint we shows that we are different, so similar but yet so distinct. So blink, because maybe you were given a purpose to change the world that only you could do and nobody else. But who? That have all the billions of people on this earth, all so peculiar, like a plan from a master of all creation. But then all of a sudden we find ourselves struck down and broken into pieces, but never abandoned, but just broken. For every human who was cursed with knowledge of good and evil before their time, you see we run throughout this quest questioning ourselves, because here I am asking myself, what am I? Why do I battle with these low self-esteem and these insecurities, this ignorant disease that tells me otherwise? But I was made for greatness. But instead I accept the common like a drone and I become less. And now I'm hidden in the shadows of darkness, where even there, the voice in the still noise says, what does the earth preach? It says, what does nature teach as the night reveals its mysteries in the heavens beyond our reach? But God says still, I want you to reach, because you are made out of dirt. It shows that out of the ugly comes the most beautiful of things. But yet it still seems like we're the biggest flaw out of all creation. But it says that the earth can't compare to us when it comes to perfection. Then God says, look at the stars in all their glory. You see that? They can't touch you when it comes to beauty. Because I mean seriously, even the angels and all creation will stand in awe. And before you they will cease. Because on the sixth day God says, not only were you made in my image, but you were made in my likeness. You are my masterpiece. 758. You are beautiful. You are wonderful. You are uniquely and fearfully made. Each and every one of you are God's masterpiece. So blink. God bless you guys.
Thank you so much, Ethan, for that amazing performance. It's good to see that the arts is alive and well amongst our young people. So much work goes into these productions that today we want to give you an exclusive behind the scenes of 4 of our 6 featured poets. Please direct your attention to the screen as we hear from Naomi Grandison and Catherine Atkinson.
I'm very grateful to be part of the CDF production. My experience thus far has been excellent in terms of the communication and preparation prior to the actual execution of the production. It was quite interesting for me because although I have been part of the television related productions, this one came with a proper organization and utilization of the different creative professionals. So you had the makeup artist, you had a consultant in, what you're going to wear, and somebody to do your hair. So all these things came together, plus they were present throughout the actual execution to touch up, to provide you with the things you need. I recognize sound was there, videography was there, and director was there. So I think it was wonderful in terms of the level of quality. and the utilization of all these different creative professionals, and the fact that I'm actually doing this in a Saint Lucian context by Saint Lucians, who I think are among the best professionals in the world, and doing it in terms of my music and poetry. So this is the first time for poetry for me, and music specifically, mixing the poetry with the music for television production. I wanted to get a variety of topics that I'm passionate about. So since I'm a health professional, I tackled the heart with Rivers of Red and eating well. And since I am passionate about Saint Lucia, I brought on Mother Lucia. And since I'm passionate about inner consciousness, and everybody sings about love and passion and romance, and I'm sure if I had a fourth piece to do, I would have done that, and that would have been a shocker where I would go. But yeah, that's why I chose it.
Well, I feel honored to have been considered for this project. It was great working with such a wonderful team, and it was actually also very insightful seeing how many people it takes to pull together something that looks effortless on the front, or at least I hope it'll look effortless. But it was a real privilege to be able to show you this special place that is sort of part of me. It's sort of in my DNA. I connect so strongly with landscape. It's a way of accessing the art sometimes, and it's also a way of rooting myself. And I also think that landscape is the one thing that a Saint Lucian share. Like, there'll be so many varieties of experience, varieties of family practice, income, all kinds of things. But the landscape, it's so unifying, and so I feel like being in it and sharing it is another way of connecting.
The impact of COVID-19 pandemic has been felt by every sector of the economy, affecting all walks of life, and the cultural and creative industries are by no means exempt, nor have they escaped the significant negative impact brought about by this pandemic. Unemployment within the sector is at an all-time high, and whereas the actual unemployment rate has not been determined, we know that it is significant, which therefore means that the socio-economic impact on the sector has been severe. We at the Department of Culture and Creative Industries are cognizant of and sympathetic to the plight of our artists, and have made deliberate attempts at providing some form of financial assistance to artists, some of which has taken the form of small grants, which between the months of June to August this year has surpassed $60,000. We are presently collaborating with Export Saint Lucia in undertaking the Music Industry Development Program, which aims at providing year-round targeted assistance to the music industry. We have also begun work on acquiring a consultant whose mandate will be the development of a policy and strategy for events in Saint Lucia. All of these are deliberate, targeted policies geared at improving the quality of life of our artists. We at the Department of Culture and Creative Industries are very much aware of the important yet limited recording of the contribution that the culture and creative industries are to the economy, and that is why this financial year we are moving with great earnest to develop the cultural satellite account, which will enable us as policymakers to better measure the economic importance of the culture and creative industries, or what is now known as the orange economy, and also will allow for the development of better policies and more informed decisions. Of significant importance is the income support program introduced by the government to provide some form of financial relief to persons who have been disadvantaged by the COVID-19 pandemic, to which persons within the creative and industry sector are also beneficiaries. I know that you may be thinking that this is merely a drop in the bucket, and indeed it is. But please be mindful that the current fiscal space available to government is limited and has been severely stretched. That is why the Department of Culture and Creative Industries has established a task force which has been tasked with the responsibility of devising new and imaginative ways in which we can safely reopen national events, which may very well necessitate the easing of some restrictive measures. We must think and act in unconventional and effective ways in order to respond to these unprecedented times in which we have found ourselves. Extraordinary times call for extraordinary measures and collaboration of all stakeholders. Having said this, we are indeed proud of how the culture and creative industries has embraced the opportunities presented by the COVID-19 pandemic. The forced change in how we operate has brought about innovative behaviors by our artists, such as the production of virtual shows and the pay-per-view concerts. During the lockdown and stay-at-home periods, we saw the talent and creativity of our artists exhibited like never before. There was never a dull moment on Facebook, or rather on social media, which was instrumental in helping us survive this trying and somewhat lonely period for many. Indeed, the culture and creative industries kept us sane by contributing to the mental and emotional health and well-being of most of us during these challenging times. And for this, we say thank you to the artist community. To provide some form of relief to our artists, we are pleased that the Cultural Development Foundation has embarked on its annual National Arts Festival as a means of enabling creativity and free expression by artists. This year, the theme, Arts Reach, has set out to create an event to inspire and uplift audiences as well as cultural and artistic practitioners. The National Arts Festival encourages artists to boldly explore themes and forms, as well as stimulate debates and discussion through their work. The National Arts Festival embraces the challenges of using the festival's status, history, and legacy to drive the premiering of new work that celebrates artistic excellence, innovation, and an exploration of intersections between various artists. I wish to commend the CDF on this initiative and for recognizing the urgent need to support our artists. And I wish to assure you of the full support of the Department of Culture and Creative Industries in your endeavors. In closing, let me reiterate the need to work together and to state categorically that the only way we will survive this pandemic is to collaborate and support each other in a way that is unprecedented. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you.
My name is Gina McPhee. This is the second year that I am participating in what I call this poetic explosion, and I must say that it has been an even greater opportunity this year because last year was in a more open forum where you had persons who were seated, but in light of the whole new environment and new structure, we've had to find ourselves doing things differently. And I must say that this experience has been one that has been really eye-opening, one that has really tested persons who were not very accustomed to what they would come to, but it has been a nice experience. For the three pieces that I chose, the first the mask, the other society, and the last one political division, they're all somewhat interrelated. Reason being is that these pieces I find to be so relevant right now. The mask is one, I mean, in light of Saint Lucians you have no choice but to wear a mask right now. But the thing about it is Saint Lucians do have things that they hide, and that is the reality. It's not only in Saint Lucia. In any place that you go, you have people who are going through issues that nobody would know. But the greatest thing is that we have an island where tourists come to enjoy themselves, where you are satisfied by the fauna of the island, the mountains, the greenery, but then you do not understand the issues that the people themselves are facing to ensure that this country is what you expect it to be. Which is society, speaks about, people always want to blame society for something, but in reality, who is society? If we removed ourselves from society, then what would it be? It would just be an environment, it would be grass and buildings. So that core that we have, what keeps society together, it's us. So if we want to see society change, it has to be us first. Political division is really, I don't want to say a shut your mouth, but it has to be a shut your mouth to many people. Reason being, in researching just politics and understanding the political divide that we have in Saint Lucia, many people do not realize that we ourselves in our everyday life, with the conflicts that we have with each other, we are politicians.
Actually, I've never done a video shoot like this before. It was very strange having people rush out in pavilions. But I will, I will go with it. Yeah, it's been very interesting. I wanted to say that I chose those three poems because I think they represent something we feel and something at times like this. It's very, very scary times that we're living in, and how do we look for comfort in scary times is why I chose my stuff. But thank you very much for asking me to do it, because it's been a really, really interesting experience. I find that poetry and song are what I've turned to for the most comfort. Well, apart from comedies on Netflix, but but if you're looking for something, you're looking for people who. I'm looking for people who have explored terror, who have grappled with fear and death and loneliness. That's what I'm looking for, and I think that you can find that in poetry and in song, and if it helps to comfort anybody, then I think that's where they should be looking.
Just so we have an idea of the chain of events, first up, actually launching next Sunday, 7th September, via the National Television Network, NTN, we have our Poetic Justice, Voices of the Underground, Survival and Triumph. Coming soon, October 2020, a DramaCan series, theater art series coming soon, October 2020, a theater art series featuring DramaCan Productions, the Gopwell Rehabilitation Center, and Gemstones Theater Group, Gimme a Second Chance. And finally, to truly highlight the work of the Cultural Development Foundation, a CDF feature documentary coming January 2021. And we would like you all to stay tuned to our social media platforms. For more information, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at CDF Saint Lucia, or you can visit our website at www.cdfstlucia.org.
I think I want to start by giving CDF a round of applause. 12 years ago, when I became a journalist, I used to be in Booth's office, well, kind of like giving him licks, saying, why is it that we can't do more to the CDF? And Booth's pulled me in the corner once and said, listen, boy, if you see our budget, you will ask those questions. If you see the CDF's budget these days, you probably wouldn't ask the same questions, but what I give them credit for is actually rising above their budget, pushing the envelope. I was amazed to be a part of a cast for Carry Festival last year, and what I saw these youngsters, mostly youngsters, were able to do. We were recognized more in Trinidad than we were recognized at home, which is why I applaud this new project that CDF has to actually bring the productions to people's homes. COVID brought out a lot of creativity in Saint Lucia, including a new national anthem for Dennery. We partitioned the country into like 758, 759, and 760. It was therapy for us. But I think through this project, folks are going to really appreciate the real talent that Saint Lucia has. And so I started with the questions I have for Boots, and we're going to come to some questions from you. What questions do you have? I've met the cast members for Give Me a Second Chance. Trust me, you will, when you see that production, you will give them a second chance. We've also met GoPrel, trust me. Can't say much because Danny's right there. But they're working really hard. What I admire about the cast members is that the sessions, the rehearsals start with a lot of real brutal constructive criticism. And I see artists like this. Saint Lucia, artistic criticism. COVID changed a lot. But by the end of the rehearsals, you saw artists moving away and they're like, I achieved something. Interviewing and speaking and vibing with them, you get the sense that we really onto something good, and CDF is really onto something good. Right? I mean, Broadway is doing what we're doing. Yeah, we want to catch up. We better catch up. Broadway is actually, well, it's off Broadway now, but they're bringing the production. So somebody mentioned that. Is it? Good one. We are doing basically what the rest of the world is doing, with limited resources, using the best talents. We have directors like Hidden Ford, we have Danny Dubois, and we have stellar cast members, we have poets, actors. I think Saint Lucians really need to give themselves a chance here, because it's a bold, innovative move on the part of the CDF. Hardworking teams, hardworking casts. I'm just impressed, because 12 or 15 years ago, I started out doing poetry at a little library room. My master here, Kendall Hippo. Yeah, and we had productions on CDF. Used to give us a forward every now and then. We used to get gigs on CDF. Yeah, they used to give us a little vibe and stuff like that. So big thanks to CDF, because I wouldn't have been here most likely. It's because of the poetry I segregated into journalism and other stuff. So it's big up to CDF. You know, so living example. So, any questions from the audience? I'm sure you have a lot.
Are you going to be featuring that once a month? So, for example, I know that the idea is to launch the poetry series in September, and then afterwards, would it be October for the arts? How are you planning on showcasing the three components that you are highlighting for the Outreach project?
Yes. Yeah. Well, if you notice, we're doing it like a project, and it runs up to March 2021. So, in order to leave enough lead time, I must say that we've been working assiduously with a production company, Albiz, who I must say has come on as part sponsor of this, because people have no idea. Sometimes we say, let's go virtual, and it's a conversation that I've had with Mrs. Wynn, and let's go virtual, and they don't realize that it's double the cost. And I think that they deserve a round of applause for coming on board with us as a partner. So thank you, Albiz. And with that said, the poetry would premiere in September. It's 6 episodes that will run for 6 weeks. So it will be on television stations, it will be online, on online media, all streaming platforms. So you can view it at your leisure or view it on the night that it premieres. In October, the theater reality series would run, and that would go until it's 10 episodes, and that would last probably until November into December. And of course, the documentary would start to run in December and go into next year. And of course, there will be repeats of these series on television. And in the hope that CDF, again, with support from all our partners, will be able to do something like this again, using other genres and encourage persons to. It also came out of a need to see some other programming on television. I mean, I'm not knocking the talk shows, hooray, but I think every now and then we need maybe a break and to see ourselves on TV, our culture that's done in an innovative and creative way. So this is CDF's way of leading the charge and moving forward and actually encouraging the development of film. There are lots of filmmakers here, lots of videographers, and the directors that we're working with, Kendall John, I mean, everybody knows him. He did a feature film that, aired at Caribbean Cinemas. Nash Augustine, and we're really looking forward to these filmmakers seeing their work and trying to edge everybody in terms of moving into film industry because the benefits are tremendous. I know the ministry is working on a project to ensure that that happens. So this is CDF's way of, again, contribution towards development, innovation, and being the support for the artists. So these basically is a rundown. I assure you that these 3 productions, television productions, are different and it's not the usual. So be prepared to experience something different. And I have to say, although she asked the question, Tracy is the host of Poetry Live, so just give her a round of applause.
Yeah.
And her co-host, Hanson Narcissus, who's sitting directly behind her. And the poetry series was filmed on 6 streets in Castries, and I cannot begin to tell you what that was like. So look forward to it, look forward to learning something about Saint Lucia, and look forward to being entertained, educated, and just feel good about ourselves as Ethan said, 758.
But we also have some other cast members of the other productions. We have Paulina, we have my sister just next to her. We've been doing the interviews, and they're actually saying that the arts, I mean, it's allowed, theater is actually allowing a character to come into you and just dictate what runs the show. And they're already saying that they're using aspects of theater. We have Shine as well, big in the theater arts as well. They're allowing theater to actually, channel that kind of positive energy, and it's working with home life as well as work life, dealing with different characters. Trust me, solutions. But it's working for them, and we must applaud that, especially when you have youngsters getting into drama. Danny Dubois can attest to that. She has Drama Can, and a whole bunch of folks in the 20s and 30s and whatever, you'd notice that their nascent start in theater was actually through Drama Can and Youth Spark. I remember Merchant of Venice being staged right there. So the space we're in, it's beautiful space, yeah, but we're coming into your spaces. It's a virtual arts festival. Let me explain that. It's a real art festival being brought to you virtually. Yeah? So don't get twisted. Don't think it's a fake arts festival. It's a real arts festival brought to you virtually. So I think I needed to clarify the virtual part. Any other questions?
I was wondering, would there be opportunity along the virtual presentations to actually meet the cast and the performers face to face? For example, they could pop up at a mall, and it would also gauge the level of viewership and interest. Do you have any of that planned?
Yes, all of those things are planned. People will be able to meet them. We have a very strong marketing and promotions team. If you notice that it's younger, it's fresh, it's new, Temba and Jacques-Claude, and they have been working on creating this promotions plan. It has been an education for me. Well, I'm not a millennial, and I interface with technology, but it was more than interesting understanding that there are actually people called influencers. And one day I asked them, you mean people influence people and people follow them? Why? So they have developed an entire plan along with Jimmy to sort of bring to the fore what we're doing strategically for marketing. Those influencers, targeting online media, television, doing all of those pop-up things where people can meet the performers, meet the hosts. I mean, before you leave today, have a chat with them, ask them, I think they can speak about their experience today, this morning. Talk to Danielle Dubois about her experience doing this. She's normally doing theater, but now it's like the play within the play. So, and I forgot to mention that the documentary is being scripted by Gemma Weeks, who's a Saint Lucian writer. And the theater is being scripted by Willard Tobier. So what we want to allow people to see is the arts has an offspring where it's an entire industry on its own, where you have all of those persons working together, and that too is employment. So to answer your question, yes, all of that is planned, and maybe somebody from our promotions team can give you all of the details, but we don't want to let the cat out of the bag.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Lorraine Sidoni from Events Company of Saint Lucia. Creole Heritage Month this year is taking on a virtual slant. Obviously, mass gatherings and mass events are not yet allowed, so it is going to be virtually done. Are there any opportunities for this arts festival to dovetail into those virtual Creole heritage celebrations?
The very nature and the span of the project, it will go into Arts and Heritage Month. And if you notice, the theater is going to be premiered in October, so that can be included in that. And I know that we have submitted a project to Events Company where we want to do something virtual, part of our Icon series, and we're working closely with the agency to get that done. So there is a possibility that that can dovetail into that. And it's interesting that the theater will be aired in October. And the theater is different. I mean, I know some of you watch reality TV, but sometimes I come into rehearsals and the cameras are on. Just the sheer experience of when you put people together and how they work out their differences. So I think it's something to look forward to. And yes, it will be part of and dovetail into Creole Heritage Month, and we can work together to ensure that happens. I think, as Mrs. Wynn said, and also the Deputy PS, that it's really about agencies coming together and all of us achieving one goal instead of everybody trying to do the same thing. And I think so far, Lorraine, we have worked together, and we'll continue to do that.
It would be remiss of me if I don't stand as one of the persons taking part of the production and the Virtual Outreach 2020 without lending my support and gratitude to CDF. It's definitely something that has never been done, but I just want to say thank you. And as a young team, DramaCan is only 3 years old, and we started off our journey making sure that we documented our process. And I think now we have like a nice little audience and following, and it has a lot to do with social media and fusing it and documenting it. Sometimes you could go back from the first time we made our first post and you could see the development and the growth. To the play that we're doing now, it's the Gopal Rehabilitation Center. And it's a group, it's a facility where people come where they have their hearts broken, but they come for help. And the focus is on mental health and, focusing on these things that we don't really talk about. We're touching on sexuality, we're touching on sexuality in terms of gays and lesbians and relationships and delving into that. But just as a young director, I feel empowered when we have a space to rehearse. I feel empowered when we have the support from CDF. our team members feel welcome and encouraged to come to rehearsals every day because, challenges are, we always have issues for space for us to do what we have to do. And space is always a major issue. So I don't know, after the art festival, I hope they can make space for us so that we continue to work. But, it's initiatives like these, and I could boast of a cast of persons who've probably never been on stage and new persons just excited about being it. I mean, I document my process and sometimes I put on my WhatsApp status. And just the support, and people are like, I want to come to rehearsals. I'm like, come through. We have an open door policy. So I just want to say to all the players in the house today too, thank you for the support. The arts is it's the emerging field. The orange economy is the future. And I know everybody is going to be like, oh my God, Saint Lucia, we have all of this talent. And I think we're going to dig our feet in our heels into the sand and be like, okay, Saint Lucia, we have what it takes and we could be as great and we have what it takes to compete on an international level. And, it starts with CDF and supporting us. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Just wanted to end on another positive note. We went to Carrick Fest, we spent like 2 weeks last year. Buses picked us up here. When we returned, buses dropped us back here. And there's this young brother, Delcy, started hugging everybody and comes to me. He's like, take care, I'm leaving soon. You're leaving soon. The bus dropped us here Thursday night. He had already gotten a job in Australia with an Australian company as a dancer. Just to show you that the opportunities exist in the orange economy. You can never argue with me in 10 minutes in Pomme d'Amour, but I'll tell you, it's in the orange. Yeah? So thanks everybody, and look forward to the productions being put on by CDF. I think they deserve another round of applause for their amazing efforts. Thank you so much.